and welcome back to the Paul Murrell Show. I'm Paul, I'm your host. I realized I had a little technical issue in the last episode or two. I think I got that straightened out. So without further ado, let's get into it. Sepp Kuss coming in huge. The 26-year-old native of Durango, Colorado, won the stage today in the Tour de France, the first American to win the stage of the Tour de France in 10 years. I love the names in cycling, Sepp Kuss being no exception. Names like Nasser Bouhanni and Alaphilippe. Anyway, great story. Good to see the Americans back in the race. You know, it's been a long time. I love EF. Great team. Jonathan Vaughters is the manager there. He was part of United States Postal back in the day, so you know he did blood doping, but that's all right. People make mistakes. But I wish they'd bring back the Argyle kits of the Garmin Chipotle team. I miss those. Not that I don't love pink, but they could use an update on their kit. But I think it's part of their image now, their pink kits. Moving on. Phoenix Suns tonight, Game 3. Looking forward to it. They look pretty unstoppable. They're dangerous on the road. They're probably going to take it to the Bucks. If they don't, it's probably because it's rigged, right? They need ratings. Branson went to space. The space race is on. This whole thing, I hope no one's interested in this. I love electric vehicles. I like Tesla. I love technology. I love the idea of going to space. But these megalomaniac billionaires that are trying to have their little space race, it's of no benefit to common people like us. And I don't want to roast Elon Musk, but let's just take a listen to what Anonymous said. Anonymous is a group or a person. Again, we're not really sure. Their whole idea is to be anonymous, right? But it's a group of hackers, and they're like vigilante annies. They're trying to stick up for us little people. So if you're not familiar with it, I just like his videos too. They're good editing. So let's bring up Anonymous. I'm going to play this for about 2.5 minutes. So if you wanted to skip ahead, go ahead. But it reminds me of Lionsgate.
Greetings, citizens of the world. This is a message from Anonymous for Elon Musk. For the past several years you have enjoyed one of the most favorable reputations of anyone in the billionaire class, because you have tapped into the desire that many of us have to live in a world with electric cars and space exploration. But recently your carefully created public image is being exposed, and people are beginning to see you as nothing more than another narcissistic rich dude who is desperate for attention.
What?
It appears that your quest to save the world is more rooted in a superiority and savior complex than it is in actual concern for humanity.
I agree with that.
This has been obvious to your employees for a long time, who have faced intolerable conditions under your command for years.
As do Amazon
It is also obvious
employees.
to the young children working in your
For Scott
overseas nuclear
Bezos.
mines, which are destroying the local environment as well. You have been open about your willingness to stage coups in order to install dictators in places where your toxic products are being mined. You have even prematurely crowned yourself Emperor of Mars, a place where you will be sending people to die. Your fanboys overlook these issues because they are focused
Fanboy,
on
I think he's referring to Matt Wallace. We're going to talk about Matt Wallace in this episode.
And your competition is growing more intense with each passing day. There are plenty of other companies working on space exploration and electric vehicles. You are just the only CEO who has gained a cult following through shitposting and trolling the world on social media. In fact, many people are now learning that the vast majority of Tesla's income doesn't actually come from selling cars. It comes from government subsidies.
This is probably why I'm going to invest in
tax
Tesla.
credits for your innovation with clean energy.
The company can't fail.
Because you aren't actually the founder of Tesla. You simply purchased the company from two people much more intelligent than you are.
A lot of people are more intelligent than me.
Tesla has also made more money holding Bitcoin for a few months than they did in years of selling cars.
That's
also
smart
more
to
than
me, right?
likely that this Bitcoin was purchased with money from these government subsidies.
What?
It is now widely believed that you have been forced to denounce your company's involvement with Bitcoin in order to keep that green government money flowing into Tesla's
And we've seen
coffers.
this in the news.
The energy use argument about proof of work mining is a very nuanced conversation that requires a fairly complex understanding of how power grids work.
Right. We talked about Bitcoin mining just the other day in one of my other episodes. So there you go. Yeah, Elon, he's definitely a social media troll. I just think that he sees the world as like a game or his little game, and he's just gonna try and be the winner. And he trolls us on the internet. He pumped Dogecoin, and I think that's just like a little toy for him. But it's real people that he's affecting again. I think people at the end of the day get hurt by this because they buy into his persona and see him on Saturday Night Live, and we saw it. We saw the run up and then the dump, and that's okay. I mean, he's just a guy, right? But I think with that kind of money comes great responsibility. That if you're going to have that kind of money and be a political or a figure in the public eye, that you should try and take that with some responsibility when you have a lot of people that don't have a bunch of money kind of depending on you in a way when you're being irresponsible about how you're manipulating markets. And he certainly does. But I'm not a hater. I like Tesla. I want a Cybertruck. But maybe doesn't have our best interests when he's making decisions. He may be just trying to dupe the retail market and take us for fools. Moving on. And then, yeah, Scott Bezos, too. I talked briefly about Branson going into space, and he only went 50 miles above the Earth's surface, whereas Bezos' ship is going to go 62 miles, which will get you into actual orbit. But again, I don't care. Bezos, too. I know people that work for Amazon. You're nothing more than a biological robot there. They have everything timed out. They know how long it takes you to go from every station to get whatever you need. If you fall behind, you're going to have a performance improvement meeting, some coaching. So I think it's a terrible way to treat people. I think they underpay their workers, and they do a lot of shady things that I don't love, but I do order Amazon, so let's be real. So that being said, I want to get back to my show. I want to talk about me. It's my favorite topic, clearly. I'm always trying to define the show and find its niche and find what it's supposed to be about. And I decided last night we're going to take the Seinfeld approach for now, that we're going to just do a show about nothing, or whatever I wake up and want to talk about, that's what we're going to talk about. Hopefully that we can just, through the process, learn to develop a good show and something that's actually worth listening to, tuning in for. But until we got that, we're just going to fly by the seat of our pants, and hopefully over time we can see things improve, the content improve, the look of the show, all these things I'm going to be working on. I have big dreams. We're going to work on my delivery, talking a little faster and a little cleaner. I have a speech impediment. I know you probably, my friends are too nice to ever say anything, but I watch my own content. I'm not blind and deaf. I've had a speech impediment my whole life. Paul Murrell rode the short bus. Probably as early as first and second grade, teachers picked up on my lisp and sent me to speech therapy. And when the in-house speech therapist couldn't make any improvements with me, they sent me out of the school I was in and to another school where they had probably some university student. I was like 6 years old. Wasn't really aware. But anyways, I had to ride the short bus there and short bus back to school. So no big deal. Talk about anything. It's something I'm going to continue to work on. So the idea of someone with a speech impediment trying to do a talk show is kind of ridiculous. I get that, but I'm up for the challenge. I like what I'm doing, so I hope you stick with me. It's been a lot of fun. I got some big dreams, big plans. I'd love to hear a comment from you guys, and I also wanted to talk about just some dreams that I have for this program, so you guys have somewhat of an understanding of where I'd like to see it go. I mentioned that we were going to talk about Matt Wallace in the anonymous video. Matt Wallace is another crypto influencer. He's one of the most powerful crypto influencers in the space. If you guys have ever heard of the AMC run short squeeze and the GameStop short squeeze, his community was behind that. He's got about 250,000 subscribers, and I'm not saying that every person that bought AMC and GameStop watches Matt Wallace, but a lot of them do. And when he says something on it, you can see when he makes a video, you can see the market react to what he is talking about here. For you guys for you no coiners out there, Tiger King has a new coin, and this guy Matt Wallace, he's not really promoting it. He just said that he bought it, but that's all he has to do. He doesn't even need a deal. He doesn't need an allocation. He just goes on the air and say, "Hey, this is what I do," and his clones just jump on it. So the price went up 1,000% overnight a couple nights ago. But yeah, there's a Tiger King, I think it's called T King token out there. Probably completely worthless. It'll pump and dump, I assure you. So, yeah, so he's got this community of people. He's got these 250,000 subscribers that will kind of follow his lead. And we saw this with the retail squeeze on the hedge funds, which, again, I love. I love when a hedge fund that's trying to short. I think shorting in general is kind of dirty, right? You're like, I'm betting that you fail. So they were shorting GameStop and AMC, and he goes on and said and drummed up support for the retail market. The retail market went out and purchased a bunch of AMC and GameStop and drove the cost up. And then when these hedge funds went to close, they can't close at the price they wanted to. So when they start trying to get out of this hedge fund, the price just keeps going up because they keep buying it. They have to buy in at the price to close the fund. And I'm not an expert on hedge funds, but they buy and sell at a high price, and then when the price drops, they're going to pay back what they bought and sold. But if the price doesn't drop, you're in trouble, right? And when the price starts going over what you are supposed to rebuy at, you're losing money. And so when one hedge fund has to take a loss, they have to buy a bunch of stocks to cover their hedge fund, and then that price dries up, and then the next hedge fund has the same problem, and the price just keeps going up and up. And that's how the short squeeze kind of worked. And it was all retail investor based. It was all retail small people like us, but a large group of them, and their buying power alone was able to really manipulate the market in their favor. And so good for them. And so that's what I'd like for this. You don't have to agree with my opinions. You don't have to love everything I say or what we talk about here. But if you're willing to subscribe, and if you're willing to take this journey with me, we can do things like that. We can get a community where we don't all have to agree on everything in life, but we can have a common ground that we all agree upon, and we can be a strong voice together through this show. And, I know it's far-fetched, but that's my dream, that we could make a community similar to what Matt Wallace has done, not necessarily for crypto or doing short squeezes on hedge funds, but just for more important issues like the things we've talked about on my show already, about oppression and about rising up of all people, and not letting tyrannical governments control our lives. So again, I want to go back to the Tour de France real quick, because about a week ago, the Tour de France has just been a bloodbath, right? There's just been these incredibly horrific crashes. These stage organizers make these, races. They lay out the stages so they're exciting and compelling, and they want the most competition at the finish line. But it's just so dangerous for the riders, and so many riders crash out this year. It's like every day you tune in, there's just these mass pileups. I think it's why we watch, right? It's like 6 hours of boring. It's like watching a hockey game, right? You don't care about the hockey game. You just want to fight to break out. It's kind of like that with cycling. It's really boring. It's not a lot of, but you never know when someone's going to crash. So you got to like watch every moment. So, and they have a really, the professional cyclists have a really poor cycling association. You know, like how the NBA has their players association that negotiates on the player's behalf for conditions and all kinds of things. Well, in cycling, you've got riders that switch teams all the time. You've got teams that come and go. So their riders union is just weak. And so these things happen to them where these race organizers put them in these dangerous situations. And the riders really don't have a lot of say in it because they're not organized. You know, get it together, Tour de France riders. But anyway, so the riders, after about, I forget which stage, we'd have to look it up, decided to have a little protest. And they followed the 3 R's of the Paul Murrell show, which is respect, rise up, and resist. They had a little protest. They waited until they got out of town so they didn't punish the people that had been camping out, you know, all day or for days to see the start race. They rode out of town. And the actual start race does always start out of town. You know, they'll ride for a couple miles and then they'll drop the flag and start racing. So as soon as they drop the flag, all the riders stop for a protest of the conditions of the race course conditions, and stopped riding for like 5 minutes, and then for the next 5 kilometers rode like at a leisurely pace. And so again, they were respectful in their way that they protested. They rose up against, it's not a government, but they rose up against a tyrannical governing body, and they resisted. So proud of you guys. Well done. You should probably get a little more organized though. So, but again, just a quick story. I wanted to throw that in for you. Let's move on. I'm going to wrap it up today. It's Sunday, and I got some things to do. But I want to give a big thanks to all of my new supporters. We're just growing like a weed over here at the Paul Murrell Show. It's incredible. I knew when I got to 10 subscribers that I would be okay, that this thing's going to work. And I haven't looked recently, but I got number 13 late last night. Mandy, thank you very much. I'll give you a shout out for having lucky number 13 as your subscriber number. But I appreciate all the support, all the love I've been getting. Go ahead, drop a comment. You know, that's, again, it's part of the show. It's the only way I can learn how to entertain you better. So big show tomorrow. It's the weigh-in. I'm going to try and shoot some footage when I get to the doctor's office and see if film the actual weigh-in. I've been struggling a little bit because I don't have an even floor in my house. So every time I put the scale down, it weighs something a little differently. So, you know, it's just all over the place. But we'll work on that. But tomorrow will be official. It'll be on the doctor scale. And I'd like to shoot a little video of that. I think it'd be funny. So till tomorrow, you guys, thanks again for watching. Stay positive. Stay negative. I don't really care. Just stay you. Peace.